Hi there, people of the space. Welcome back to rLounge. Change is inevitable. Change is always happening, whether we realize it or not. And it's how we respond to these changes after our initial reaction that determine how they affect our lives. Some people embrace change, and some people fight it. Today, we see some in-laws suit up for the fight of their lives. Up first, a mother-in-law gripping hard to whatever control she has left. Mother-in-law gave me a blueprint of how she wants to design my baby's nursery. Longtime lurker, first-time poster. So here we go, friends. I, 27 female, and my husband, 29 male, are expecting our first baby in May of 2022. We recently found out we're having a girl and have begun to put items on a registry and start preparing her nursery. Background. My husband is an only child and our baby will be the first grandchild for both his and my parents. Mother-in-law and father-in-law are divorced. Mother-in-law has always been JN, and we've set boundaries with her over the years, which she likes to stomp all over. Dear husband knows mother-in-law is JN and feels the same way I do about her. Mother-in-law is thrilled that we're having a baby girl and keeps referring to her as her baby or her girl. I have emphasized the fact that this baby is indeed growing inside my body, and she is my baby. I am currently a full-time ICU nurse, but plan to go part-time once the baby is born. Mother-in-law has stated that she is going to quit her job once I'm back from maternity leave so she can watch the baby while I'm at work. 1. I don't want this and never asked for her to do that. 2. My husband works from home and can help care for her. 3. My mother has graciously offered to help with childcare, which both my husband and I have agreed on. Both dear husband and I have told mother-in-law what we want to do for childcare, and she still has the delusion that she's going to be babysitting 24/7. The straw that broke the camel's back happened on Christmas. Mother-in-law presented dear husband and I with a gift. This gift was a blueprint that she created for the baby's nursery, and with details of how she would like to design it. I told mother-in-law that we will be designing our baby's room how we want and not with the blueprint she provided. Mother-in-law proceeded to beg us to let her be part of this experience and that we are taking away her joy as a grandparent. Dear husband didn't want to get into a huge argument like that on Christmas, so we told her we would discuss this later, and that was the end of it. It's eating away at me, and this lady is driving me nuts. I know things will only get worse once the baby arrives, and I need to put my foot down now. Has anyone else had a boundary-stomping, obtrusive mother-in-law that just won't take no for an answer? Ask a question, get an answer, straight from the community. Flip Flippers Flipping says, so much yikes here. It's good that you and your dear husband have implemented boundaries with her, but she apparently doesn't care about them. A counselor might be able to help y'all with this. Y'all are doing a great job with staying on the same page and reiterating your boundaries, but y'all might need to either escalate or try something else. She needs to understand that being involved is a privilege, not a right. She didn't just send you some Pinterest links and say, here are some ideas that match what you said you wanted. She's full on claiming your child and acting as a parent. It's completely unacceptable and y'all don't need to put up with it. Best of luck. One other thought before an update from Emu Upstairs 7402. I'm so sorry. How infuriating. I think you could definitely start using her language against her with your serious talk. You're stealing my joy in this experience of preparing for and having my first child, so I'm going to create some distance between us, which can turn into not talking to her for freaking months at a time. Be strong. She does not care about your feelings. Why should you care about hers? Update. Dear husband found his spine and told mother-in-law off. I wanted to provide an update for my last post and include the wild event that led up to it. Backstory. My husband, 29 male, and I, 27 female, are having our first baby in May, which mother-in-law thinks is her baby. My mom has been planning a baby shower for me and was trying to keep it a surprise. Until now. Thanks, mother-in-law. My mom is planning and paying for it all. Mother-in-law is only contributing her unwanted opinions. My mom was trying to be a nice person and include mother-in-law in the planning and told her to invite a few family members, thinking she would invite dear husband's godparents or other close family. My mom listed her number on the invite for RSVP, and last week she got a call from Karen asking, who is OP and why am I getting invited to her baby shower? Mother-in-law invited her cousin I've never met or heard of to my baby shower, along with her sister and other cousin who I've met once. My mother had to explain to this poor lady who I was and try to figure out why mother-in-law would invite someone I've never met to my baby shower, who also lives 3 hours away. Well, I know why. It's because mother-in-law is trying to make everything about her. Shocker. My mom told dear husband about Karen and the other relatives that mother-in-law invited, and he was pretty upset, embarrassed by it. So, dear husband called up mother-in-law and let her have it. He told her it was rude and inappropriate to be inviting guests that he hasn't seen in years, or that I've never met, to my baby shower. He's embarrassed and doesn't want his relatives to think we're money-grabbing or inviting them just to get a gift out of them. Dear husband also told mother-in-law to stop inserting herself into our plans. It's our baby, not hers. He told her she would not be babysitting. We will not be visiting until we say so, and absolutely no staying overnight. I was so happy, you have no idea. Mother-in-law has been running around with her tail between her legs now and apologized to my mom and dear husband. She's been sending me mushy kiss-up texts too. I don't feel bad for her, and I feel so relieved that dear husband set the boundaries before the baby is born. We set up her nursery this week without mother-in-law's blueprints or help, and it feels amazing. Thanks for the advice and support. One other quick thought from the OP. Mother-in-law is most certainly trying to buy our love at this point. She just bought us the, kind of pricey, car seat we wanted, even though this woman is unemployed and needs to save her money. But we are not falling for her tricks. She also confirmed that her family members are in fact coming to my baby shower. So no, she didn't uninvite them. Update. Mother-in-law almost poisoned me at my baby shower. My husband, 29 male, and I, 27 female, are expecting our first child and had our baby shower last weekend. It was a lovely day with our friends and family to celebrate our baby girl, and of course, mother-in-law had to ruin it. I'll start off by saying that I have a severe allergy to gluten. I have had this allergy for years, and all my family and close friends are aware. My mom planned and hosted the baby shower. She made sure to order food and desserts for me from a dedicated gluten-free bakery and placed all the food that was safe for me to eat on a separate table in the corner to avoid cross-contamination. When it was time to eat, I fixed myself a plate and headed back to my table. As I took a bite of a cookie, mother-in-law comes up to me and says, "Oh, those are the cookies I made. I can't remember which ones were gluten-free and which ones were regular." Apparently, when no one was looking, she placed her lavender cookies, which tasted like soap by the way, on my gluten-free table. I immediately spit out the cookies and said, "Are you kidding me?" Mother-in-law shrugged her shoulders and said, "Sorry." I spent the rest of my baby shower on edge, worried that I was going to get sick. Thankfully, I didn't. I tried to ignore mother-in-law for the rest of the day, but she hovered over dear husband and I as we opened gifts and commented on every single item. This woman is insane. Seriously, what the F? It sounds like your mother-in-law is seeking to regain control she feels she is losing with your entrance into the family circle as well as a new baby. Things used to be done a certain way, and now she needs to adapt and change. And we know how change can be. It's challenging. Moreover, it seems like she wanted to invite people to the baby shower in an attempt to have people on her team, or to add to this false appearance of herself that she projects to people. It's an ego boost for her. She wants to feel important and she wants to feel needed. That being said, I think there's a fine line here of being proud that her son is having a baby and being proud that she's going to be a grandmother. You need to pay attention to the things she is trying to accomplish. They usually point to a need she has or a worry over what could happen if she relinquishes control. However, understanding her motives is not an excuse for her behavior. It's to give you clarity and guide your actions. When you can see her behavior as a reflection of her, you can manage your emotional reaction easier. Now is the time to focus on you and your husband and this beautiful new life that you're about to welcome. When you turn your focus to this exciting next stage of your lives, the less power you are giving her. You'll be naturally asserting your own control as well as boundaries, and she'll be forced to take a step back. What do you think of mother-in-law's behavior? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. In the meantime, we're going to move on to some community comments. Rowan Raven says, "Accidents happen. This wasn't an accident. If she truly didn't remember which cookies were safe for you, she shouldn't have put any of them where you would eat them, and shrugged about maybe poisoning someone. Maybe not. It's not a rational reaction. She's either too stupid to feed you or your child safely, and she's purposely antagonizing you and shouldn't be around you. Either way, protect yourself from this creature." Next thought from Miranda666. "Time for your dear husband to sit down with her. You know OP is severely allergic to gluten. You know that when OP consumes any gluten, she spends hours or even days with agonizing stomach cramps and diarrhea. It can take a week for her to recover from a bad incident, not to mention that she's pregnant and a serious reaction could hurt her baby. You know that her mother was incredibly careful to separate the food it was safe for OP to eat on a different table, so that OP could enjoy the baby shower without having to be scared of getting sick. And knowing all of that, you told her you weren't certain the cookies you'd placed on the gluten-free table were safe for her to eat, as she was eating one of them. Tell me why it's okay to place my significant other and my child in danger, Mom. Tell me why it's okay to be careless with their lives and health by refusing to take OP's allergies seriously. Tell me why it's okay that OP spent the entire party worrying that she was going to get sick. This stressed her out and spoiled the party for her, a party she should have been able to enjoy. Because I don't think it's okay. And if you can't convince me that you'll start taking this stuff seriously, I don't think we'll be spending a lot of time with you in the future. Up next, some in-laws green with jealousy. Mother-in-law and father-in-law gave us an intervention days before I gave birth. The whole thing is kind of ridiculously funny that I just have to post about it on here. I have a scheduled induction next week, and last weekend my in-laws invited us over for a chat. It was the morning after hubby and I went to the hospital for a baby-related scare where I was being monitored for 3+ hours in the middle of the night, so we were already exhausted with emotions running high. Anyways, in-laws knew about this and still invited us over for a confrontation. Mother-in-law kicked it off by saying we've been married for almost 2 years now, and there's no progress on integration of me into their family. She feels like I don't treat them the way I treat my parents. I don't come to spend the day at their house, and that they both felt like instead of gaining a daughter, they lost their son. Then she cries. Father-in-law steps up and starts raising his voice at my husband. It's a flurry of questions that go, "Why don't you both come around? Why don't you call us? Why doesn't she text us?" Points at me. The list goes on. Honestly, it was just a big crap storm targeted at us for not reaching out to them as much as they wanted us to. He says he feels alienated by us, that we don't consult him regarding decisions we make, and that dear husband forgets that he's still a child. What the F? Hubby explains that he has a new business to run. He's busy working 6 days a week, and when he's not working, he wants to relax at home with me. We're going to be parents soon, and we have a lot going on in our lives, so forgive us for not always wanting to spend every free minute at their house. Father-in-law didn't like this reply and freaked out even more, blaming me for not bringing them closer together. I told him it wasn't my responsibility to mend their relationship, and it's pretty unrealistic for me to treat them the same way I treat my parents. For some perspective, I have a fantastic relationship with my parents. I see them quite often, but I've known them my whole life. It's impossible for me to recreate that bond in 2 years with my in-laws who are completely different personalities. Mother-in-law is still crying, saying she feels like I act like a guest in their house, but thankfully, my husband threatens to leave because he says he didn't come here for his wife to be attacked. Finally, father-in-law breaks down and says he's just upset because his lifelong dream is to wake up every day beside his grandchildren and be surrounded by them, raising them and spend his days with us and them, and feels like my husband and I are threatening his dreams. We had no words for that one, other than he should have stayed back home in the 1990s Pakistan if he really expected that. Oh, and they're furious that we aren't sharing our daughter's name until after birth. Sorry for the long post. It's just been sitting on my chest and thought it would be an entertaining read. I'm so over it. It's been some days now, and my husband couldn't care less to make progress because we're literally welcoming a baby in a few days and have more important things to dwell on. Mother-in-law called me to apologize and asked if we had any hard feelings, and I laughed because, honestly, if they didn't want hard feelings, they shouldn't have had this useless, resolutionless conversation to begin with. If anything, it pushed dear husband away from them even more. He dodged their calls all week. Edit. Oh, I forgot the cherry on top. Suddenly, mother-in-law and father-in-law are calling me every day this week to check on me, and they're both distraught that the hospital has a no-visitor policy for my labor, other than my husband and my mom, and father-in-law texted me demanding to be at the hospital, or that he wants to wait out in the parking lot. Sure, buddy. It sounds like they had this idea of a perfect life that never turned out the way they had envisioned. That being said, they believed that the relationship they had with their son would remain the same. This is due to unrealistic expectations that they placed on you both. The reality is that relationships evolve. Life is fluid. It sounds like this conversation was their one last attempt at addressing their fears of the relationship evolving, and their lives forever changing, even more with the addition of a new baby. In short, the issue isn't with you. The issue is that they are hurt and they don't see their son as much as they used to, and the life they had envisioned for themselves isn't lining up. Life has changed for them, and instead of being happy for the both of you, they are taking the growing pains of life quite seriously rather than embracing change and the beautiful opportunities ahead. Now let's check and see what the community has to say about all of this. Cool Login starts us off. Oh, and they're furious that we aren't sharing our daughter's name until after birth. Wait, they're from Pakistan? I thought withholding babies' names until after birth was standard Muslim practice. If father-in-law left Pakistan in the 90s, he didn't raise his family on a compound with his parents either. Why does he expect his son to be more traditional than he was? The OP replies, honestly, his parents are living with him and mother-in-law, even now, so I guess in a way he expects similar from us? I don't know, it's weird. Next thought from Buffalo Chips Ahoy. Father-in-law screams at pregnant daughter-in-law, who had just come from a pregnancy scare at the emergency room, asking, why aren't we closer? Then blames daughter-in-law for not making their family better. Are there mirrors in in-laws' home? Because I would have directed them to the nearest one to see the sources of their problems. Come on. The OP replies, funny you ask, because there was a mirror right across from father-in-law. It's so freaking dumb. Not an environment we want to take our child to. It was so nice to have you join us today in our lounge. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss our next video. As always, we value you and can't wait to see you next time.